Welcome to Barbells, Business and Boobs, where we discuss navigating everyday life as lifters, business owners, and being a woman in a male-dominated industry. And today we have Lauren Wise on, and she just came off about 6 weeks ago from her first Powerslap event, which she won. So Christy and I are so excited to get to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so a lot of our listeners are into strength sports. So can you tell us what this is? I recommend everyone go Google it really quick, but give us a quick rundown.
Okay, so UFC Power Slap. It is professional slapping. It is two opponents up against each other at a podium. Typically, it goes for 3 slaps unless there is a knockout. Okay, so there's a coin toss. One of the opponents gets hit first, and if that person stands after getting hit, they then get to return the hit, and so on and so forth.
Chrissy, when did you first hear about this and what were your first thoughts?
Honestly, I didn't really know too much about slap fighting until I watched your fight, Lauren, where they did a really good job explaining it to me. And congratulations on the win, by the way. But that's really it. And then when Brittany almost did slap fighting, I tried to learn a little bit more about it too. So I'll be like the newbie of the conversation. I have so many questions for you, but yeah, that's really all I know about it.
We'll fill you in, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and it's funny because Lauren, I think it's important to talk about this. Lauren and I were almost opponents. So back, was it February or March last year?
April.
Oh, April. Okay.
April.
I couldn't remember the time. I feel like they first reached out to me maybe in February.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, and it's funny because Christy and I always talk about like our sad girl days in the podcast. So I was retired dealing with injuries and just kind of like unsure about Vegas in general. And they approached me and I was like, sure, I guess. Like I kind of just went into it like, what do I have to lose? And I saw it as an excuse to go back to a body weight where I felt more comfortable. So I was like, okay, cool. That seems like a challenge. And then my friend Sheena, who everyone knows, she like went viral on the internet for her slap fight. And then I looked up you and I reached out to you and I was like, hey, like, I know it's weird I'm reaching out to you, but I have no idea what I'm getting into. Like, I guess we're opponents. Like, do you live here? How are you going to train? And we just started talking. So I initially like really went into it kind of blind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What were your initial, like when they first approached you, like what was your initial thoughts?
I think everybody goes into it kind of blind because it's such a new sport. I mean, they just celebrated a year, like a couple months ago.
Mhm.
So it's brand spanking new, and not a lot of women have done it, as you've seen. It's primarily men. So honestly, I think even up to the day of my match in December, I still was not really sure what I was getting into, what the rules totally were, like how it was going to go. A lot of it was like, okay, we're just going to hop in and see what's going on. But I believe it was like December 2023 that I first started talking to Erica at Powerslap. And it was
Okay.
because we had a friend, a next door neighbor, one of our actually best friends. So we moved here from San Diego, Derek Thompson. He worked with UFC, and there was a night that we were having some beers in our kitchen, and we had been up late just kind of shooting the shit for a few hours with some friends. And the guys got on the subject of Powerslap and how Derek was a part of it and, working with Powerslap and how crazy it was. And they were like, oh, would you do it? Would you do it? And me with some liquid courage, I'm like, absolutely, I would totally do it. And they're like, Lauren, really? You would do it? Like, that's crazy. And I guess the conversation continued and I like committed to it. And Derek was like, okay, you'll get a phone call tomorrow. And I was like, excuse me? So I got that phone call, hung over in the like kind of deleted, like, what is this? What is this phone call? And it was Erica with Powerslap. And she was like, Derek said you want to join. And I was like, dang now. I want to join. And I just kind of was like, okay, let's do this. Let's see where it goes. And here we are, fast forward a year later, and I've competed and I've won and I'm ready to do it again. So I kind of just fell into it, but I really had no idea what I was getting into at all.
Oh my gosh. When Brittany texted me, I misread her text. She was suggesting to have you as a guest on the podcast, but I read it as whether if I would want to go against you in Powerslap. And I was like, No, definitely not, which is funny because like I never thought about doing it, but my initial reaction was no. So it's funny that yours was like, I can do it. You know, like have you ever been in a fight before or have any background in martial arts or just like on the playground or anything? Have you ever been slapped in the face?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what it was going to feel like?
No, not really. I mean, I've gotten into like a street fight once, maybe like twice, once and a half, right? Like broken up. And that's it. I've always been spicy and like kind of like trigger response. I just like to jump and do things that are exciting and, you know, give you adrenaline. I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. And so anything that makes me feel alive, I'm like, yeah, it's worth doing it once, you know? So no, I didn't really know what it was going to feel like getting slapped. I mean, I had a girlfriend like come and slap me just to prepare so I wouldn't be completely shocked and like poop my pants on stage because of like the initial shock of getting hit. So she came and hit me at like 30, 35, 40%. And then I was like, is it safe to go any more than that? Like, am I going to hurt myself in preparation for this match? And so I just didn't want to risk it. So I really did go in mostly blind, not knowing what somebody's 100%, 105% would feel like. And I will compare it to getting hit by a car about like 35 miles per hour. Like
Oh my
I've
God.
been T-boned, almost, you know, died, totaled my car 35 miles per hour. And that's what it felt like in my head. Like when she hit me and I was like, okay, that was intense. It was like getting T-boned by a car.
So I saw you right after the fight because I was on my way up to do some of the interviews and stuff, and you were like so giddy, your face looked good, but then you bruised a couple days later and you had a headache. So talk to us about that, like when you woke up the next morning, what you felt like.
Yeah. So for sure, when I saw you, I was on top of the world. You know, the adrenaline was just the best feeling I've ever had in my life, right? Like I was like just absolutely manic. And that's why everybody does it again, right? Like you just feel euphoria. So I felt nothing at the time. I had started to swell up. Let's see, my right side started to swell up right here. And I had a little bit of like a bruise kind of. It was almost like a welt that turned to a bruise right here. So I had a little bit of a knot. And that was it. But I would say because we went right into celebrating, like we went to Excess that night. We have a mutual friend, Dave. He had my photo put up at Excess, which was really freaking cool. And
Yeah, I saw that's awesome. Yeah.
it was so nice. Oh, he's such a sweetie. So we just went right into celebrating, and then we had bought we'd like continued the suite that Powerslap had provided me with, and I was like, hey, let's do 2 more nights, have all our friends come over. So we continued like celebrating the win. So I honestly didn't realize that I had a concussion. And you're not supposed to drink on a concussion with a concussion. So I didn't notice the symptoms for probably 3 days until I got home and I was recovering. And I was like, ooh, this isn't a hangover. This is like a 24-hour morning to night through the night headache. And so I had a 10-day headache after Powerslap, and it was really wearing on me. You know, like there was a while there where I was like, okay, this is getting like kind of serious. Like I'm noticing it's nonstop all day long. And there was times where I would wince in pain because it would get so intense. And so that's when I called, somebody at Powerslap and was like, hey, I definitely need to go see a doctor. I'm a little concerned about my brain. And they're like, yeah, it sounds like it's probably concussion. It's really common. So they booked me an MRI, but I'm not really familiar with MRIs. I didn't realize that you can't really see a concussion on an MRI. So it was kind of pointless. They just wanted to make sure that there was nothing visible, which there wasn't. And by the time the MRI results came back, like 5 days after the MRI, the headache was gone. So, but yeah, 10-day headache, a little bit of a welt. The welt was gone in 3 days, which is awesome. The swelling was gone within the first day after the match. But the headache was really alarming. Obviously we're all concerned about CTE. We don't want long-lasting brain damage, and that's what all the comments are, right? You're signing up for CTE. You're signing up for early onset dementia. And really, we don't know. We really don't know. And there's even UFC fighters who are like, this is so stupid. You guys are so ignorant for subjecting yourself to brain damage. And I'm like, well, in 1 year time, a power slapper might get hit 3 times, 3 matches, 9 times total, right? It's not all that many compared to somebody who does UFC and has, gets hit maybe 20, 30 times a year hard. You can defend yourself, but you're still getting hit, and you're getting hit really hard with a closed fist and or knee or something like that. I think that that's obviously in the span of a year of matches and bouts, you're getting more damage doing UFC. So I think it's kind of silly that people are like, oh, Powerslap, the dementia games, because it's not. It's really not. But we don't really know.
Was that your first concussion?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Christy.
Mm.
Oh, it's okay. No, I'm just trying to also, because I watched the fight today, and so I'm just trying to take it back, because you got hit 30-40% practice, but when you were at the match, that very first slap, what did you feel? Were you just like, whoa, this is a lot, because the facial expressions you guys have, like the fact that you guys are able to kind of like smirk through it and like take it is crazy and amazing. But like, what are you feeling? Are you like, oh shit? Or are you like, all right, that was hard. I can take this, or it's harder than I thought.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
It's so hard to say because everything's like a blur. It was a whirlwind.
Mhm.
I would say any first initial hit is going to be the worst because you're registering, right? You're registering the
Mhm.
shock, registering how painful it is. Am I okay? Am I dizzy? Am I woozy? Am I going to go down? Is it throbbing? Can I focus now and get my, hone in on my strength to hit them? There's a lot that goes through your head, but I think she hit me and I was like, ooh, okay, I didn't get knocked out. Amazing. That check, right? We just don't get knocked out. And then, okay, I'm not wobbly. Check. My head doesn't hurt. Check. That fucking hurt. Check. Okay. But it was like, oh, I've gotten hit by a car before and was fine. Like, this isn't quite as bad, but it feels kind of similar. And I was like, I could do this, what is this, a 20, 30-minute thing? I can get through another 20, 30 minutes of this. No biggie. So I think she hit me and I was like, ooh, okay, cool. That was really intense, but I can definitely do this. And then the hits after that were way easier because the shock and like the adrenaline, like
Mhm.
you kind of go numb. I mean, my whole prerogative was tighten up, don't get knocked out, and you can handle pain. Pain is temporary. Pain is just like almost a figment of your imagination.
So did you have any, I know you said you kind of went into it blind. Did you have any sort of game plan? Because I feel like one of the hardest aspects is the coin toss. Obviously, if you win the coin toss, I feel you have an advantage. And so she got to go first. So did you have any kind of like game plan if you go first or if she goes first, or what did that look like in your head to prepare?
So I actually won the coin toss.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yep.
That's okay. That was a huge advantage. And I know just how blessed I am to have won the coin toss. I would be so nervous if I was on the other end of that because I know it's a huge advantage. I got to go in there. I got to funnel in all the adrenaline, all the excitement. I mean, the first hit, you're shaky, you're nervous. In my clip, you can see me kind of shaking out the nerves a few times because I'm like, I'm going to mess up because I'm so like pulsating with energy. It's hard to hone it in and hit somebody efficiently when you're like shaking with nerves and excitement. So yeah, the coin toss, we got that news like a week before and we were stoked. I mean, jumping up and down, celebrating, stoked that I won the coin toss.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a whole 7 days prior. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's definitely a mental advantage
Yeah.
because then you get to, like you're going first. That's huge. I didn't realize that. I feel like it would almost be you're gonna hate me for saying this, but more fun if they did it like they do for some of them where it's right before.
Yeah, I think they used to do that. I was talking to another competitor and they said that back in the day, beginning of Powerslap, they did it right there, like in the ring with you. And now it's a separate thing with the athletic commission. And who knows how they do it? Who knows if it's genuine? Who knows? Like, I don't know. We didn't see it. There's no recording of it. There's no proof of it. Like, we don't know. So I was just grateful that I won it and had that advantage. And so, yeah, in my head, I was like, okay, how do we get a one-hit knockout and not get hit? And I just kind of like tried to manifest that. So when it didn't happen, I was like, oh shit, I have to get hit. I've been preparing mentally not to get hit, just to hit her go down, and that's it. Like, done. I didn't have to get hit. And so whenever I clubbed her in my first hit, because the nerves and, inexperience, I lost a point and I was like, oh no, I was not prepared to get hit. And here I am about to get walloped.
So I'm gonna put a link to the fight so everyone can see it. And I so far interviewing you, the best part has been how you just went into it. Like I admire that because and Christy, I want to hear what you would have done, but I was quite the opposite actually. So I think being a very like type A OCD athlete, I literally started pulling up film, slow-mo, working on internal rotation of my hips, med ball slams. Like I designed a program so that I could learn, because I've never done any type of combat sport, but I obviously have a lot of power. I know how to generate. And then I was meeting up with someone to teach me how to, I was actually getting opinion from a couple different people because
Yeah.
people with different hand sizes, different body types. I was practicing and like doing stuff like that. So it's so funny to hear because I've also done things where I kind of just go into it, not sports, but like other different experiences in life. And I feel like it can be an advantage to kind of just go into it blind because you're more excited. You're not thinking about it as much. You don't have so many thoughts in your head. But it's just funny that, you took that approach. So yeah, Christy, what do you think? I know you don't want to do it, but if you like had to do it, what do you think
Oh,
your approach
yeah.
would
I
be?
mean, it's hard too because, I know that like with this interview and hearing your experience, Lauren, that my opinion might change. Maybe like how excited you are about it, how you're like, it's so fun. It was like so exciting. I love it. Makes me like, okay, that like, I like fun things. I like adrenaline. I like stuff. I just think I don't like to be hit, but I would approach it probably more like Brittany, but I think it might have been better. It's like going through something, like sometimes it's just better not to like overly, look at it. It's like recently I rappelled a waterfall that was really, really tall. Don't look over the edge before you go. Just do it and then enjoy it, right? So I'm not, but I would have approached it a little bit more, probably like Brittany, and thought about it very much like, build a program and stuff like that. Brittany, are you glad you didn't do it, or are you still curious after hearing Lauren's experience?
I am so glad I didn't do it. Like
Okay.
it's, I think I'm really happy because we're always honest in this podcast. So I had just started taking HRT because just from the stress of like the plane accident and moving and stuff, I never could get my body like right. So I started from Dave, a little bit of HRT. And when I got the contract, and I want to be careful what I say, but I also want to be extremely honest. A lot of people lie. That's not my style. I have an internet job. I never want to get blackmailed or canceled, as they would say. So I was like, hey, this is what I'm on. They're like, okay, let me get back to you. I was like, okay, cool. Didn't show up on my test, obviously, because all my results were normal. Like my testosterone was at like a 50, which is still really low. And she said, and it was kind of, they have to respect privacy. But when I got the news that I wasn't, I was super sad because I just started getting pumped for it. Like I just had made a playlist for it, and I was starting to visualize like exactly what I wanted to do and where I could take it. And then I was really, really bummed out. And then Lauren was like, hey, are you okay? Like they made it seem like you had cancer or something. So I just sent her a voice memo and I was like, hey, no, like this is what happens. I just wanted to be honest. And I was like, I felt really bad. I actually thought Lauren wasn't gonna like me because I was like, oh, we were both so excited for this, and like I feel like I ruined it, but I didn't want to lie. But everything worked out, and now I'm so glad. Yeah.
Yeah, it all makes sense too, because like Lauren, when I was like seeing you up there, and they're talking you up because they're like, oh, she's tall, she's powerful, she was a swimmer, she's a trainer, she's got all this power. And I was like, Brittany's got a lot of power too. It'd be really fun to see like you guys like head to head. So that being said, Lauren, like what is your back, like I guess swimming, but what kind of led you up to this point athletically?
So for 7 years now, personal trainer, independent. So I'm in the gym, I'm living a fitness lifestyle, I'm lifting weights, I'm trying to just grow and build my body and be as efficient of a human as possible. And I want to look good, And so I've just been very fitness. I've had a fitness mindset all my life for the most part. So just being around other people, encouraging them, helping them get stronger and healthier and fitter. I think that anything that you can use your body and develop your body for is so cool. Like I literally now want to get into MMA and get into a boxing gym, start to use my body more because it's freaking cool to have your body as a weapon. I mean, you guys have done competitions, and Brittany, you do strongman, and I think that's so cool.
Christy does too. She just turned
Oh,
pro.
you do? Amazing. So cool. So you guys know how awesome it is to like weaponize your body and do really hard things that a lot of people can't do and see your hard work pay off. And I think that that is so sick. And you're only this young and this healthy for so long, right? So you might as well do it. And so whenever I got this opportunity, I was like, hell yeah, let's start changing up the programming. And I did create a program. I did create a structured workout program. I started working on high intensity movements, training my obliques, training the twist, training my legs, training fast paced movements with power. agility type stuff, obviously upper body strength, chin, neck, shoulder strength, elbow, wrist, shoulder strength. I mean, just the mobility of everything, like all of it. I trained all of it. And it was a very, very interesting way to train, because before I was training for physique, right? Like grow your glutes, strong, lean upper body, have some strength, a tight, thin stomach. And then, I changed that to way less glutes, but more power in my legs. I started training out my obliques more, which a lot of women avoid because it makes you like kind of wide. So I started training obliques more, and noticed those got nice and full and thick and strong. And I'm like, oh, I don't love the way it looks, but it'll be good for the match, right? So I changed all of that up for Powerslap. I will say, like it was half of it, right? I trained to hit, not so much to be hit. And that's where I'll do better next time, because for sure my neck was way less strong than my opponent's. And her name's Morgan. So my opponent, Morgan, her neck was so strong. And when I hit her, it was like, I couldn't hit through her. Like she just tensed up and like kind of pushed back into my hand. And I'm like, girl, that neck is serious. And mine was not that strong. So now I know how to train a little better for this next round.
Yeah, definitely can't neglect the neck, as I say. I've been talking a lot about that when I've been doing the Powerslap, for like the commentating for how to train for it. And training your neck it's so funny because my neck is thicker than most men. I think I mentioned the other day, it's like, I forget, but it's ridiculous. My boyfriend's is only like a little bit bigger than mine, but it doesn't really, the cool thing about neck training is it doesn't really ever go away, unlike other muscles. Like once you develop it, you're going to start to take over in certain movements, and your neck will just, you'll notice it like getting tight. That's funny. So it's pretty easy, I would say, compared to other muscles, compared to like the glutes or something, to build up, and the maintenance is generally pretty easy. So you'll be good with that. I want to talk also about the weight class and the different weight classes. So you were welterweight. So because they didn't really give us a choice, they said this is the weight class we have to do. So talk to us about where you started. Was that your first weight cut experience? All of that.
Yeah. So I've never done anything martial arts before. So I've never had to do a weight cut. I've never had to be in a weight class. I sit at like 183, and you and I had this conversation, right? As a woman who is very comfortable where she's at, where you're strong, where you feel good, like weight is such a tough thing for women in general, much less whenever you're having to be put into a box. I hated being put into welterweight. However, there were pros and there were cons, right? So I had to drop 13 pounds, and I lost a lot of strength, and I lost physique, and I lost stamina. And so now I know when I do this again, sitting at 183 usually and having to drop to 169 was very intense on my body. And I went up there and did not have the power I expected to have, unfortunately. And they even said that. The commentators were like, wow, this is a little bit of a disappointing first blow. I feel like there's more power to her. And that was so true, because for sure I lost a lot of strength, a lot of power. So now I'm like, how do these fighters drop insane amounts of weight without losing power? I don't know. I don't know what the formula is, and I need to figure that out before I do Powerslap again.
Yeah, I think, I coach people, I've done massive weight cuts. The hardest part for me to grasp my head around is dropping 13 pounds, no big deal. Pretty easy. Just cut carbs, and then you can do a water cut. There's aggressive approach, non-aggressive approach. The part that's hard for me is when you're doing a water cut and you're getting hit in the face, your brain has water around it for a reason, to protect you. So that's the hard part to me, is like, do you want to even risk more of getting a concussion or brain damage or it hurting more when you're cutting weight? Or do you want to, go up a weight class? And it's hard for women because it's like you might not even have an opponent that can step up. So it's like you don't really have a choice if you want to continue this sport as of right now. Obviously, the goal is for it to grow. So
when are the weigh-ins? Are they 24-hour or are they right before?
They're 24 hours before.
Yeah, because we do 24-hour weigh-ins a lot, and I know. So for me, like cutting weight's just so hard for me. I think it's different for everybody. For me, like getting just like pounds off. So I stay close to my weight class. I weigh 165. My weight class is 160 year round, but I'm comfortable there because I'm only 5'5". So it's a little bit easier for me to maintain that weight. But I know, like I'm like you, I lose a lot of power if I am, get lighter. So I know how it is. It's hard, but welcome to the world of weight class. Amazing. But I know you've been, when you start to experience that weight cut, and then also the training changing from physique to getting building some of those strong muscles like obliques, getting a little thicker waist, and the things that come along with that. Did you struggle with any type of body image issues, or are you just like, no, I'm cool. I feel good with a strong body. Do you have any of those things come up?
That's a great question, and it's something that I knew I was going to face. Getting into fitness, as you ladies know, your body changes all the time, and body dysmorphia is such a thing when you're constantly changing. You gain some fat, and then you drop it, and then you gain muscle, and then you drop it, and the fluctuations are confusing to our brains sometimes, because it's like, am I lean? Am I strong looking? Am I not? Am I looking flat? Am I looking chubby? And it's like constantly evaluating where you're at and how you feel about yourself. And I've had to go through a lengthy process of getting out of my head in the last 7 years of being a trainer, because I used to be really lean and in shape, and then I gained a lot of weight in college, and then I was overweight for a long time. I was over 200 pounds for like 2 or 3 years, and that's how I got into fitness, because I was like, this sucks, this is awful, I hate feeling bad about myself. So going from lean to heavy to lean to really thin to really muscular was very confusing for me for a long time. So I think I did the work prior to be able to handle this just fine. So I didn't love losing the weight, because I'm like, where is my ass going? Like, I just, I have to work really hard. I'm one of those girls who has really big legs and not that big of a butt. And so I have to work really hard to be proportionate, because I have broad shoulders, a long torso, thick thighs. And then you turn around, you're like, there should be more back there. So I have to work really hard for it. And I totally lost it in the weight cut. And I still don't have it, because I'm still recovering from the weight cut, actually. And then getting sick through New Year's Eve. I'm actually lighter than I was at weigh-ins for Powerslap, which I lost 13 pounds for. So I'm just being patient. I'm like, it'll come back. I've done this a few times. It's fine. It's nice to embrace fitting in cute little tight clothes whenever you're really lean. And then whenever you're a little fluffy and you have a nice badonk, you just put on different types of clothes. So it's just part of the journey, and I'm totally okay with all sides of it.
It's so funny. You summed that up perfectly. I literally said the same exact thing to my boyfriend last night. I have like a 3-pound weight cut because I'm competing in something on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I was looking in the mirror. I was like, I'm still pretty lean. Like, I'm only 5 pounds above my stage weight. And then I looked to the side, and I literally pointed, and my boyfriend got so mad at me, because I usually don't do this. Yeah. I was like, my butt is so big now, but I hate how the first place it goes is my stomach. And he was like, it's because your core is ridiculous. Stop. And he yelled at me. And I was like, and I had that moment, because I've been looking in the body in the mirror, and like kind of focused on athletics and fitness since I was 8 years old. I'm 32 now. So the fact that I still have those thoughts, and like, we always talk about this on the podcast with all our guests, because it's like, no one seems to be immune to it, no matter what. So
especially women, we really are picked apart by society. And as you guys know, being in this kind of industry and being on TV, being on camera, having these clips get, popular on the internet, people feel like they can comment on your body and your looks, and it's disgusting. And of course, like, we sit in the mirror and we're like, these muscles do look kind of masculine, or maybe my butt isn't big enough, or maybe my stomach is too big. And we really just have to turn all of that off and just be like, none of that can penetrate me and my thoughts and the way I feel about myself, because I'm a badass. I look great. I'm doing things that a lot of people aren't willing to do, especially the people commenting. Like, actively, there's people commenting on my Powerslap video that's over 30 million views, by the way. I'm so excited on Instagram. The clip is over 30 million views. There's people commenting on me and my appearance and my performance who would never step up there and do what I did.
Yeah.
Ever. And so it's like, why would that bother me? Like, you're just a goober sitting at home in Nebraska, nothing to do. You've done nothing cool in life, and you're commenting on what I'm doing. Like, you just can't let it bother you, because it's not important. So then I don't ever let that equate into what I see in the mirror. What I see in the mirror is me versus me. Am I working hard? Am I being kind to myself? Am I putting good out into the world? And is it showing? Am I healthy? Am I checking the boxes? And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't check the boxes. And then you just have to be like, okay, I'm gonna be aware. I'm not doing what I need to be doing. Maybe I'm not eating correctly, and maybe I'm putting on some extra body fat that I don't love to hold and represent myself that way as a trainer and as an athlete. So it's like, okay, I'll do a little more. I'll just be aware, but it doesn't need to be ridicule, and it doesn't need to be you bullying yourself.
Yeah, and when you unlock that ability to like shut out all those comments, just because it comes with the territory of like doing something extraordinary, like that's definitely makes you stronger for sure. And it's kind of cool where the internet's cruel. I've never had like a 30 million view video, but I've gotten a lot of comments like on what I'm doing or what we do is masculine or my body. And of course, subconsciously it can affect you, but over like getting to that point where you don't care and you're like, this is stupid, or like these comments are benefiting me is a great place to get to for sure. It reminds me of like the man in the arena quote where, it's all, everyone can criticize from the stands, but you don't really know until you're like actually in that position. So it's always good to hear from other athletes, especially I was going to ask you about the fan base with Powerslap. But of course the comments are sometimes can be horrible and sometimes entertaining, sometimes positive, or a lot of times positive. But what about the actual fans? What are they like? Is it more like really into the sport? Are they like just fan girls, fan boys of you? Like, what's it like?
It's a good question. And I had no idea what it was going to look like. I knew that there was going to be movement, and I knew there was going to be, attention. Obviously, being a woman doing something like this, you get a lot of guys who are fans of you because you're a pretty woman or because you're an athletic woman or, you're a woman as a role model. And I think that's mostly what I'm getting. Surprisingly, a lot of the follows I've gotten, a lot of the messages and, the fans per se are like men from foreign countries. So I guess Powerslap is huge everywhere, which is really crazy. But I mean, I have my message requests are just flooded with these random men being like, be my wife, you're my queen, I'm your biggest fan, please respond. And I'm like, who am I? Like I did one 20-minute thing once and now people are like, I'm your biggest fan. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but why?
Oh my gosh, the internet is so funny like that. I've been on the internet doing athletic stuff for a while, but I remember like my face was just like yours when it first started happening, and I would ignore everything because I didn't even have time to do social media when it first started happening. And then my mom on my behalf would like get stuff. She's like, Brittany? I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Please, Brittany replied me immediately. I need to marry her.
Well, wait till you get fan art because Brittany's fan art is my favorite.
Fan art, the comics are the best.
Because they're gonna love that. People are gonna love that you're a tall, blonde, and strong. And the fan art that comes from that is amazing. Brittany, you'll have to send her some. It's just so good.
The ones where I'm bigger than my professor. Like I had one.
Yeah,
I think
it's like cartoons. It's just crazy. It's
one was like,
but I love it. I want a cartoon of myself.
Yeah, I'll try to pull that up.
Thank you,
Lauren. The funniest one that like will always crack me up to this date is like someone drew me, and it was like Brittany Diamond in 3rd grade, bigger than her professor already.
So creative.
Anyways, what is next?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I am very eager to do Powerslap again. I would really love to go again. I've wanted to say this on a recording, on a podcast, on an interview. I won by 1 point, and it was too damn close for comfort. So I now know I need to train the neck. I need to work on the weight cut and not losing power. And I want to come back more efficient, stronger. I know I'm damn strong when I'm at the right weight. And so I need to figure out how to translate that to this weight cut that I'll probably will have to face again. I'm most likely am going to be welterweight again. Who knows how long this will take, because it took a year from me talking to Powerslap to having a match and different opponents, different dates. So I have to imagine there's going to have to be another welterweight to match 2 women. And it's the early prelims is what it's called whenever you first come in. You've never done it before. They don't have a live audience. It's just like employees. So if you watch my video, it's kind of quiet in the crowd. There was maybe 50 people in the crowd, right? It's like it was my fiance, our best friend, and then like employees and a few other people for the other early prelim people. So I have to imagine they're going to have an early prelim match, 2 women, welterweight. Whoever wins then decides if they want to come back in whatever amount of time, maybe a few months, I don't know, to go against me. And then maybe then I get that phone call, hey, we have a winner who's willing to go up against you at this time. Who knows how long that could be? I'm assuming maybe another year, which hurts my heart a little bit. I'd love to do it in like 6 months. But if it's a year, if it's, a little less, a little more, I know that I'm going to start training more now that I'm healthy. In this new year, I'm going to be training harder, getting my neck stronger, working on my power, working on the efficiency, and learning how to drop weight efficiently while keeping power. So I'll be ready,
Yeah.
We'll make sure we share it, get it out there. I actually know a girl who's moving here that has been asking me every day, like, how can I get involved? How can I get involved? And she would be a really good opponent for you.
Is that who I think you're talking
Yes.
about? And we're having her as a guest in a couple weeks.
Yep.
She's amazing. That's awesome. I forgot what I was going to say.
Have a second application. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, and for the cutting and stuff like that, utilize this as resources. Brittany is really good with weight, diet, recomposition. We've all been there when we have a bad recomp, because that's just most important, as important as cut. Because we want to make sure that you win by a lot more next time.
Yes, definitely.
Please call me.
Are you gonna be at the event in March, the Powerslap 12?
I definitely.
Okay, perfect. I should be here. I'm like coming back. It's like the Arnold, and then I leave for a competition in Rome. So there's like a day in between. So I'm like gonna try to change my flight so I can report, make it, and then hop on my flight.
I'd like to see you. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get together. Okay, so what?
I'll come out.
Crowd and just like sit back and absorb everything, because being on stage is so blinding and overwhelming, and it's like tunnel vision. So I'm excited to sit and see, all the hard work that UFC has put into making this entertainment. I want to sit and just like pop my feet up and like watch people get hit and not have to get hit.
That was my favorite part. I couldn't believe how amazing of a job they did at the event. Like, they told me to dress up, because they said everyone was so dressed up because it was, Vegas and in the fancy new casino. And yeah, that was a really cool experience. And then at the after party, there was like celebrities, and it was so fun. And I was so happy to be a part of it. And like I said, I'm glad I'm on it's really cool for me, because I've seen so many sports grow, like when I started in strongman. So it's really cool to be on the other side of it from the beginning. And I'm obviously pushing for all the women to continue to grow. We're having you on tonight for the live at 6. So going to do all we can to grow the women's side of things. Cool.
I can't wait. Right. More women, badass women getting up there. I cannot wait.
Okay, so a couple more questions, and Christy, ask whatever you want. What was your absolute favorite part of the whole experience?
Oh, that's, you know what? I was going to say that's tough because there were so many parts. Honestly, the camaraderie, like it was blue team versus black team, or blue corner, black corner. So we had like a team of people all practicing together at the gym at Circa, where they kept us, with our coach. And I posted some videos on my Instagram. That's, in my little thumbnail there, but we're all in the gym like, hey, nice to meet you. And how many matches have you had? How many matches have you had? This is what I do. Practicing with a mitt, giving each other advice. Like I made friends, and it feels a little bit like a trauma bond kind of situation where like that was such a cool day for me. It's such a cool week for me. And like, I was excited to see my teammates and like go give them a hug and be like, you got this. And like slap them on the ass as they go out. And, I chest bumped one of the girls after her win and picked her up and swung her around. And like, just the camaraderie was so cool. And there was a group message on Instagram of all of the blue team members, teammates, and everybody's just like, oh, you guys killed it. This was amazing. What a thing that we're doing together. And it was just like the vibes were so high. And I'm like, can we be friends after this? Like, can we hang out sometimes? Like, can we keep, doing this? Because it felt really, really good, and it felt powerful. And I think that was my favorite part of everything.
I love that. Okay. Chrissy, do you have any more questions? Because I want to kind of end on a fun question.
I was going to say, do you have any fun questions? Do you have a crazy fun question this time?
Lauren, who is, in your opinion, the most, because I have someone in mind, the Hawaiian Assassin is mine, but on the men's side, who do you think the most intimidating fighter is?
The crazy Hawaiian.
The crazy. Okay. All right.
Dude's
So my
neck
question
is the size of my thigh.
he's like 420 pounds.
Yeah. He's a massive.
Wow.
I want to say he originally was my coach, right, for Blue Team. And day
Cool.
of, as we're getting ready to go to the gym to go meet him and get like critique from him, Powerslap changes the coaches, which was crazy, right? So then it was Robert Trujillo. And so we swapped literally as we're going into train. So I got trained by both coaches, which was a huge advantage.
That's an advantage.
Huge. But I'm training with Lane, and that's the crazy Hawaiian. And he has this energy about him that is very magnetic and very powerful. Like he just holds himself in a way that you're like, tell me everything and I'll listen. Like I'll take notes, you know? And he was kind and powerful. And, you know, he pulled me aside and he gave me a little extra TLC, which was awesome. And he was like, there's no reason why you don't win this. You have every capability. And I was like, oh, you know, I felt like teacher's like favorite. I was like, oh, he thinks I could win. Amazing. Dude is massive. Dude is powerful. I think a lot of it comes down to just like genetics, right? Like Hawaiians, man, Samoans, their necks are thick, their bodies are thick, their arms, they're muscular, they're dense. I mean, how are you going to hit this and make it turn? And if it's here, you know, like if it just stays here all the time. So yeah, he's pretty intimidating.
Okay. So my question is $2 million in line.
Okay.
Would you take a slap with all his power from the crazy Hawaiian for $2 million?
I don't have to like survive it, right? I can like opt out. I would definitely let him hit me for $2 million. Okay. And very aware that I'm going to get knocked out and like have some, but like, it's okay. I'll pay for them later.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. Make sure everyone watches the fight below. Lauren, where can people find you?
Instagram, Misfits Training, MSFITS Training. It's a little play on words for my business name. I'm on Instagram primarily. Follow me there and see when my next match is.
And based out of Las Vegas, you train people out of Fit Club?
Not at Fit Club. No, I work out at Fit Club. I am at Hit Life Fitness currently.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'll make sure they can find you. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can have you back on and find you a match sooner rather than later. Rooting for you. Love your energy and enthusiasm about it. It's awesome.
Thank you, ladies.